Kaya kung mamatay ka kasi galit ako sa droga.
My campaign against drug will not stop until the last pusher and the last drug lord are That is why I have resolved that no matter how long it takes, the fight against illegal drugs will continue.
Inaresto ng maghahating gabi. Ilang oras makalipas, napatay sa loob mismo ng Pasay Police Station.
At base raw sa PNP Manual of Operations, nakita nila na karamihan sa 451 police operations sa ulo at pigil ang tama ng mga baril sa mga namatay na biktima.
Murderers who suffocated their victims by wrapping their heads in tape, often writing pusher or addict on signs left with the box.
Although the program was meant to clean the country for the usage and selling of illegal drugs, the operation conducted by the officers were out of control and had been outrageous since many lives had been lost. Extrajudicial killing was so prominent, and even the civilians are sometimes involved during the operations. And it is still happening until now. And there are still many questions that need to be answered, especially by the truthful conscience of the law. It can only be solved if the rules being implemented are just humane for everyone. A culture of peace will be achieved when citizens of the world understand global problems, have the skills to resolve conflicts and struggle for justice non-violently.
This film has helped me see the other side of the coin. It is sad to say that the families who are affected of this drug war are afraid to speak up, which is really unfair. The right that they have to speak is just not enough for them. They will just eat their guilt, then die. There are people that say drug war is inhuman, and there are also people that say it has benefited them. Most Filipinos are Catholic, and most of the Filipinos support this drug war. But didn't the Bible said that thou shalt not kill? Watching this film is much more different than reading the news or watching the news. There are people that has taken advantage of this drug war. There are also publishers who got blinded by money just to share a one-sided stories. How can you call this a war if it is one-sided, that the victims doesn't get to defend themselves? The lesson that I have learned after I watched this film is to be open-minded. We always have to see the bigger picture to be able to understand what is really happening. Critical thinking should always be applied, especially in this kind of situations. Always think outside the box.
The short documentary The Horrors of the Philippines Drug War gave me a wider perspective about the dark reality of the anti-illegal drug campaign of the Duterte administration advocated since his campaign in 2016. Using it as a campaign propaganda, our current President Rodrigo Duterte pledged to clean the Philippines from its problem of fighting the widespread illegal drug use within 6 months. He repeatedly stated that his administration would use any means to fight drug users, pusher, and even drug lords, that per his perspective are the roots of other social issues that hampers the growth of our country. After almost 5 years of President Duterte being the president of our country, nothing changed, but many died. According to estimates, nearly 8,000 suspected drug personalities lost their lives during the bloody drug war implemented by the current administration. Even though the president always insists that it will be a fair war, the campaign against illegal drugs is anti-poor. The documentary made me see the dark truth that suspected drug personalities killed belong to those living below the poverty line. We do not hear the news that police arrest big-time drug personalities or drug lords as target for their operations. The problem of illegal drugs continue to worsen here in our country since the government focuses on small-time distributors rather than the primary source of the problem. Because of the drug war, the poor become even poorer and the deprived become more deprived. In a country with a weak judiciary system, and often the justice is bought by the wealthy, the normal Filipinos became helpless and deprived of their rights to human rights and equality in the eye of justice. People lost their lives, but at what cost? The poor become a victim of summary and unlawful killings, but those wealthy drug lords still enjoy the luxury of being free because of their money.
As our current President Rodrigo Duterte reigns the Philippine government, he built a campaign against the use of illegal drugs, the War on Drugs. This program aims to eradicate people who use unlawful drugs to the extent of addiction. The President addressed this issue as a primary obstruction to the Philippines' economic and social progress. Rectifying this issue is fundamental, as they believe that with the operations of this campaign continue, the lesser the worries of the people having to go out at night. The intention of the campaign was justifiable, but the ways to execute and annihilate the illegal doers were on the contradictory part of its purpose. There is no such thing as innocent until proven guilty with this warfare. Innocent lives were strained with the orders and the people took advantage of it. Targeting the vulnerable and poor were accessories of a more influential illegal doer. Even the late legal advisor, Mr. Salvador Panelo, addresses this issue like people's lives, especially the ones below them, were the collateral damage of the resolving issue. Journals and articles regarding this war on drug campaign of the president were opposed, and said to be violating one right and freedom of defending themselves that was sanctioned by the nation.
For me, matters like what laws or operations are being tasked by the government are significant enough, and we, as students, should be educated about them. Most importantly, like in the film that we've watched, which talks about the drug war or called the Operation Plan Tokhang. Being educated about this manner can help students to become aware of what is actually happening in our world and how these rules were really done. And by looking at it, referring to the film, it is very sad to see that these rules were not that implemented well. Many became victims and were framed dying without the justice that they deserved.
Drugs don't only waste your money, but also waste your life. Stay drug free and be the best you could be.
The documentary solidified my belief that the Philippines do not need a drug war. What our country needs are a responsible government that tends to do the needs of those who need it. Even though before I believed that the campaign would help the country become peaceful and stable. The documentary engraved a message that this war would never help our country. It only worsens the lives of those living in poverty by depriving them of their rights and killing them by summary executions.
My stand about this film is that being involved with these things can have a bad effect in our life. Becoming drug-free has less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. It's easier to stay off drugs than to get off drugs.
It shows that the unjust and sometimes tricky situation of the implemented program. The photographers involved in each cases are also liable of taking photographs that can help or destroy in solving each case because of the angles and important details that has been captured by their powerful and manipulative cameras.
Authenticate, not fabricate. Each and every one of us has a bright future ahead. Keep innocence, be innocent, and guilties, be guilty.